Welcome to the Killer Innovation Show, the longest continuously produced podcast in history. Each week, Phil McKinney brings you the insights and strategies to amplify your creativity and innovation skills. Here's your host, Phil McKinney.
Hello and welcome. I'm Phil McKinney. This week, we are reaching deep into the archive and bringing you one of our most downloaded shows. Enjoy. Welcome to the Killer Innovations Podcast. Now, no doubt you probably thought I'd either died, fallen off a cliff, or had totally given up on producing any new podcast. Well, you're wrong. Recently, on October 31st, I announced that I'll be retiring from Hewlett-Packard after 9 years as the Vice President and Chief Technology Officer for the Personal Systems Group. Now, I'll produce a podcast sometime after December 31st, which is my last day at HP, giving you more details about what I'm doing in the future. But one of the outcomes of this is to free up more time so that I can actually do more things like the podcast. So, what is today's podcast on? One of the common emails I get is asking about what are the unique skill sets needed for innovation leadership. So we all kind of, I think, have a good recollection or a good set of lists in our head about what are good leadership skills. But what are the unique ones that you need in order to be a true innovation leadership capabilities? What are the skills you need to have? So first off, let's kind of put together a list of what I think some of the skills are for just good general leadership. And this applies across all organizations, whether you're a small organization, you're a large organization. These leadership skills apply across the board. Those include, number one for me, integrity. You need to be able to trust the people you're working with. You need to be able to trust them with being able to complete tasks, look out for the best interest of the team, the best interest for the overall organization. Integrity is number one for me. Next is anybody providing a leadership role needs to be able to put together the vision and strategy. Team members are looking to the leaders to be able to communicate what that vision and strategy is. So you need to have that mindset, your ability to constantly look at longer range beyond where the team members are currently operating at, and then being able to roll that back in so they can see where the path you're going is headed. So therefore they can get into that support role. They can get excited about that, following you as a leader, that there's a direction, there's a vision behind what it is they're doing. Third, communication. And for me, for some reason, communication is one of those skills that is just very hard to find. I come across a lot of people who have absolutely phenomenal technical skills, phenomenal skills around being able to design and write code or create products. Where they suffer and their career suffers significantly is their lack of communication skills, their ability to tell the story, make the pitch, share and convince others to join their dream. So communication skills becomes critical. Next is relationships. If you're going to be a leader, you need to be a relationship person. You need to be able to interact and build relationships and truly have concern and interest in other people's lives. What is it that motivates them? What is it that makes them tick? What is it that potentially is distracting them outside of the work world? And how could you help to get them so that their head is focused, their head is in the game every day? Next is persuasion. You got a vision, you got a dream. As a leader, you got to persuade people to leave what they're doing now and hitch their wagon to you, following you and being able to achieve your vision. You've got to have that skill of persuasion. You've got to be able to draw them to you and be able to convince them that what you've got for them is better than what they've got currently going on. Next is adaptability and flexibility. There's nothing worse than being a leader who's rigid, because it's no longer about teamwork. It's about simply some leader acting as a dictator and everybody being lockstep with them. So as a leader, you've got to be adaptable and you've got to be flexible. Next is teamwork. Do you and can you really operate as a leader of a team? Can you stitch together and put together the right team? Now, here's the key when putting together the team, at least from my perspective, is you do not want everybody in the team to be just like you. You need diversity. You need diversity of opinions. You need diversities of backgrounds. You need diversity of capabilities. You need a wide diversity, and the wider the diversity I found, the better the team and the better the output. Now, if you're going to be a leader, the next one is you need to be able to coach and develop your team. Don't look for people who are already at the high end of their careers. Find those young and upcoming people within your organization, or go hire them from the universities, or bringing in interns. But if you do that, you need to be able and be willing to coach them and develop them. Just don't drop them into the deep end of the pool and watch them flounder. Work with them. Help them really develop that skill set. The benefit of this is the fact that you get to provide them with the development and the skills they need, and you're not unteaching bad skills that they've learned someplace else. Next, decision making. For some reason, leaders lack, really, I would call, the guts to make the call. What you get paid the salary for. Sitting around and doing voting and trying to drive consensus is just simply a cop-out. You're the leader. Make the call. If you're going to take a leadership role, you've got to get comfortable making the call and recognizing that, guess what? Some of the calls you make may be wrong. You may be totally off the mark, and that's okay. If you're wrong, catch it early, change and adjust, and move on. But you've got to make the call. Sitting around and not making the call just hurts the organization and hurts any progress you can have. And then last, and this is probably the one skill that I probably struggle with, is planning and organizing. I'm kind of that idea guy. I can go out and I can come up with the great ideas and motivate teams and get out there and really communicate the message. Sitting at my desk and doing the meticulous planning and doing the meticulous organizing in order to make it happen is not a skill that I really have in my quiver. So what do? I hire people that work on my team who do that very, very well. So this basic list that we just went through was the leadership skills, just the base leadership skills that everybody needs in order to be a successful leader within the organization. And that doesn't matter whether you're the leader of the shipping department or you're the leader of a large organization. So what's different? What skills do you need differently to truly be an innovation leader, to have that innovation leadership skills that are critical to really drive the innovation agenda within an organization? Couple things. Innovation leadership means taking risks. In a lot of leadership roles, it's about avoiding risks. Don't take risks. Don't make sure there's no downside. Make sure there's only upside. And so a lot of core leadership skills are built around, or leadership decision-making processes around, reducing or eliminating risks. In the case of innovation leadership, it means taking the risks. You have to take the risks. You have to get comfortable with the fact that 9 out of 10 actions you're going to take are going to fail. We've been trained in all of our leadership training and our management training and in organizations that if you have a failure, that, oh my God, that ruins your career. In the case of innovation leadership skills, you need to get comfortable with it being flipped. 9 out of 10 decisions you make, 9 out of 10 actions and programs and activities you start will end in failure. They'll end up in a pile of rubble, smoke coming out of it, right? You got to get comfortable with that. The other is, if you're in providing an innovation leadership role, is you need to keep looking for new opportunities and threats. Leadership skills in the core organization really is about stability and moving forward and just kind of staying within your bubble. In the case of innovation, you're constantly head up, you're looking out across the horizon, and you're looking for those new opportunities. You're also looking for threats, not threats to your programs, threats to your organization, threats to your industry, threats to your geography, anything that has a potential, one, to be a significant impact to your organization, but also those threats become opportunities, things that you can then innovate around in order to get a new leadership position for your organization. So, innovation leaders are constantly looking around for these new opportunities and these new threats. Now, next is innovation is about change. Stability is the death of innovation. It's always about constant change. There's constant change in the new things you're doing. There's constant change that your competitors are doing. It's about change. Innovation leadership is about fostering a culture where change is expected. It's not a surprise, right? Now, you notice I didn't say that it's stress-free. Change is always stressful in an organization. Change is stressful for the individuals that are impacted. But set that expectation in the culture that change is expected, that it will come, and that we will react to it. Innovation, just core to its just very nature, is about change. Now, the next one that I want to share with you is one that kind of goes a little bit counter to the list we just went through before, where we went through all the different leadership skills. Now, this one, don't rest on the traditional management and leadership techniques, right? We tend to like to get comfortable with a set of process and a set of rules, and this is the way it always operates, right? In the case of innovation, every situation is different, right? If you're innovating, you're creating something new, and by nature, then you have to create everything around it as new, whether that be processes or techniques. You have to go invent everything around it. And once you get that one program done and you go off and do the next program, guess what? You're doing it again. This includes management and leadership techniques. You need to find and invent literally the way you manage and the way you do leadership. You can't sit back and just use the textbook methods. I've just found that those don't work. And every program, every project, every team requires its own little tweaks and changes to the leadership techniques in order to make that team successful. Now next, innovators by nature are optimists, or you at least should be an optimist. If you're a pessimist, you probably shouldn't be in the innovation game. Innovation is about being an optimist. If you are an optimist, then show it in your leadership style. Don't be the doom and gloom person walking around going, oh my God, the sky's falling. You need to be the motivator. You need to be the optimist. You need to convince and convey both to the team members and to the executive leadership team an optimistic view of the future, where things are going, where things are going to go. Now, you can't be kind of, it's always sunny and rose-colored glasses. You got to have a realistic view. But by nature, innovation is about progress. Innovation is about winning. Innovation is about achievement. That, by nature, has an optimistic feel to it. You need to have that in your leadership style. And if you work for somebody that is supposed to be the innovation leader and they're a pessimist, good luck. Now, last but not least is innovators cut through the crap. There's a lot of fluff, there's a lot of BS that goes around in every organization and in every industry. Innovators, you need to be able to look and cut through the crap and get to the real core. One of the keys here is you've got to be willing to step in and stop the corporate game playing, the passive aggressive, the little turf battle issues that come up within an organization or even within teams. Innovators is about making progress. If you're spending your time doing the internal BS stuff, you're not achieving what's ultimately going to have the impact on the organization. You need to be able to yell BS, raise your hand, stop it, kill it, move on. And this, by doing this and doing this early and doing this often in any program as an innovation leader, team members will flock to you. Because nobody wants to play the internal politic game. They want to build something. They want to have impact. They want to change the world. And the more time you spend battling the internal BS, the less you have that ability to go out and change the world. So, innovators by nature cut through the crap. So I'm going to go through this and summarize it really quick for you. So again, these are the skill sets that are specific to being an innovation leader. 1, innovation leadership means taking risks. 2, Innovation leadership is about constantly looking for new opportunities and threats. There is zero ability to stand still and be comfortable with where you're at. You're always looking for the next thing. Innovation is about change. You need to foster a culture where change is expected. Next, don't rest on traditional management and leadership techniques. Every situation is different, and therefore, management and leadership techniques need to be tweaked and changed. Next, innovators are optimists, and show it in your leadership style. Show it in your communication style. And last, innovators cut through the crap. Don't let the internal BS bog you down. Stop it, kill it, prevent it, minimize it, and allow your teams to be focused on changing the world. So, hopefully that was helpful to you. It's an answer to a couple of emails that I've gotten. And again, I'm looking forward to getting back and producing more podcasts for you over the next coming weeks as I finally get myself unraveled from my day job. So, in closing, let's connect. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, Google+, you name it, I'm on it. Let's connect if we're not already connected. If we do connect, drop me a note and let me know, okay? I get a lot of requests, for instance, on LinkedIn from people who don't say anything. They just offer a connection, and I tend to decline those. But if you want to connect with me, I'm more than willing to connect. Would love to connect with you in whatever social network means you want. I'm obviously on Twitter and post there quite regularly so that you can keep up with what I'm doing. Drop me a note. I know it's been a while since I've done the podcast. I'm interested in getting your thoughts and your feedback and ideas for future shows. I'm going to be putting the shows out on a much more regular basis going forward now. So drop me a note. The email address is feedback@philmckinney.com, or you can go over to philmckinney.com and click on the contact page and just drop me a note that way also. If you haven't been over, the philmckinney.com site has gone through a pretty massive redesign to make the content easier to find. It's got a whole new graphic look for it. I contracted with a small but a very, very creative firm here in Silicon Valley called Pure Matter, and they've led the redesign of the site. It launched, I'm going to say like the third week of October. So if you haven't been over there to look at it, stop by. Now, if you haven't heard, and I would be surprised if you haven't heard, but my first book, Beyond the Obvious, will hit store shelves on February 7th. So for those of you who've been regular listeners of the podcast over the last 6 plus years, and have been constantly asking me about when the book is coming out, the book is done, coming out February 7th. It's being published by Hyperion. It will come out in hardback. It'll be available worldwide in English, and there'll be other language translations coming following that, and I'll have an update on that soon. Most of the book is dedicated to the killer questions, and in fact, the title of the book is Beyond the Obvious, Killer Questions That Spark Game-Changing Innovation. So more than half of the book is dedicated to the killer questions. And for each question, there's stories and examples, etc. There's a chapter in the book that covers exactly how to run a killer innovations workshop. There's a chapter on the corporate antibodies. So it's a pretty complete collection of the bits and pieces from the podcast, from the blog, and entirely new material. And in fact, I would probably say roughly about half of the questions in the book have not been yet covered in the podcast or on the blog site. So I would say I'd probably say about half of the questions have never been covered. So I would encourage you to go over. There's more information about the book. The best way is to go over to beyondtheobvious.com, and that's the landing page. There'll be a new site that goes on to that URL as we get closer to the book launch, but you can go there now and see information, and you can actually pre-order the book. There will be both print versions and digital versions and audio versions, all the things that you would normally associate with the book publishing industry these days. So, again, I'd love to have you go over there and take a look, and pre-buy the book and read it and enjoy it. There'll be other materials that we'll be releasing. If you go over to Beyond the Obvious and you submit your email address, then you'll get notified about free chapters that will be made available starting here in another 3 or 4 weeks for the book. So again, if you go over to Beyond the Obvious, submit your email address, and you'll get an email notification with links to free chapters and early release material from the book so that you'll have a chance to take a look at that before the book actually hits the store shelves. With that, we're going to wrap up today's show. Check out the show notes over at killerinnovations.com. Love to hear from you. Drop me a note, phil@killerinnovations.com, or hop over to the innovators.community. That's where I hang out. Love to chat with you. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Podcasting nonstop since 2005, this has been the Killer Innovation Show on the Innovators Network.